Champions. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for taking a pause in your day. And thank you for being curious over what we're doing here at TFA Champions. So today's live is going to be a little bit different from the last two. The last two were more product focused. We talked about the services we offer at TFA. We also talked about what it looks like with becoming an agent. And this time, again, it's going to be very different. My mom's going to be joining me. So I worked in escrow previously at RE/MAX Champions, but now having my own franchise, it's a little bit different. It's a different experience. It's that, entering into entrepreneurship. And the three questions that we're going to address today are what it takes as a woman in this industry to be successful. And again, success looks different, for everybody. And then question two is, it's not really a question, but it's what our experience has been as a mother and daughter duo. So what the journey has looked like, the challenges, how we've overcome those challenges, and how we've really grown our bond through that. And then the third one is going to be why financial services are so important. And this is going to come from my mother's perspective, however. She's been in the real estate industry for 20 years, I think around 20 years, and she has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. So having her answer that question is going to bring a lot of insight. And this is like I said, this is the live that I'm most excited for. It's my mother, and she's going to be joining me right now. Hello, Mother.
Hi there. Hi, my sweetie. So, hi, everybody. Hi, champions. Very happy, beautiful day. And I have to say, I've done a lot of trainings over the course of my 20 years. I've done a lot of lives and a lot of events. And this is now my most favorite because it's with my baby girl. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. So we're gonna hop right into it. But question one, like I said, and before we hop into these questions, I just want to, express that this is just, where we're at with our journey. This is what we've experienced from our growth, our evolution, our healing process, where we're currently at right now. And, later on down the road, 2 months, 3 months from now, a year from now, it's going to look different. But, if you resonate with what we're saying, great. And if you take away a lesson or, some type of knowledge or wisdom from it, beautiful. And if it doesn't resonate, that's okay as well. Like I said, it's just what, where we're at, our perspective in this moment. As we know, our perspective always changes, always shifts depending on the growth level, the maturity, the obstacles we overcome. So just putting that out there. Question one is, what does it take as women in this industry to be successful? And I want to hear your take on it first.
Ooh, very, very, deep, good question. I feel like nowadays things have shifted a little bit for us women in business. And I think they've shifted because, we have created that shift. However, when I began, about 20 years ago, especially in the real estate brokerage industry, it was very male dominated. And, I would go to different events, even at RE/MAX, and being one of the only women, in the room, just a very, very male dominated industry when it came to brokerages, not so much on the sales side, but, with real estate brokerage and also entrepreneurship. And I think that, there's a couple of things that have evolved over the years. And I think it's just I'm very blessed that that's happened, where it used to be back in the day when, when a woman was super obsessed over something, like I'm super obsessed over real estate. I love it. I can, eat it, breathe it, talk about it all day long, like day and night. Like that's all that I could talk about. And I'd be super happy, right? Yeah. A woman is like super obsessed over something, whether it's, real estate or whatever their career is. It's looked at differently, or it was looked at differently back then, because you could have a man that was, very into his business and making money and being an entrepreneur, and they're looked at, as hardworking. And look at how hardworking he is. Look at how he's providing for his family, he's stepping up for his family, and he's a provider, and he's a solid individual, and it was to be admired. And I think that for us women, several years ago, when you were like that, it wasn't so much admired. Rather, people would look at it like, wow, that individual, they're money hungry, they're obsessive, they're a workaholic, so that connotation or that belief system, was there. And it made it a little bit more challenging and difficult to, I don't want to say live out your dream, but to avoid listening to those outer voices.
Mm.
Made it different. And so I think that as a woman, to be successful in this business or any business for that matter, you have to drown out all of the voices, all of them. And you have to take a look at what your purpose is, where your heart lies. And if your purpose lies in truly, but you have to come from a place of service and of value, and take a look at what it is that you want to provide service and value to, either in your community or within the industry that you're working in. Because when you provide that and you have that love for what you do, you can never go wrong. You're always going to create success. And like you said at the beginning, success is very different for different people. So for me, success meant building something substantial where I could have a platform to provide value and opportunity for various individuals to create the dreams of their lives as well. And for a lot of people, success doesn't mean that. They don't want to put in all of those hours that it takes to be an entrepreneur because it does take a lot of time and hours at the beginning to accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. So success is different to different people. However, in this industry, to be successful, you have to listen to your own inner voice, and you have to consistently do that work within yourself, and you have to say no more than yes to the majority of things that are out there, and not listen to all of those voices that are telling you, certain things that you should either be doing, or you should talk like this and look like this and show up like this and do it this way. It's really pushing, having the courage to push all of that aside and stay true to your own belief system to provide your value. So I feel, that's kind of step one at being successful in this industry, or any industry for that matter. But I think especially in real estate, we're in a very it's a challenging field that we're in, and it takes a lot of creativeness, a lot of innovation, and a lot of insight to be able to kind of navigate your vehicle per se and stay in the direction that you want to go in, because there's so much out there. And it's easy to take a look at that and say, wow, you know what, that looks shiny and pretty. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then you don't end up staying true to your vision and staying on your path towards success, because, either you see a shiny object or it gets too challenging and difficult. So you have to work through all of those things when you're in business.
Yeah, very true. And that was a beautiful answer.
That was a lot, I know, to start out with, but it just, came to me so passionately right now.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I really have, I would say, a similar perspective. Obviously, we grew up in different times, and what you navigated through was very different from what I'm navigating through. I could imagine a lot harder, a lot more obstacles, a lot more things you have to punch through and push through. With me, there's still that essence of, male dominated. There's still that essence of the wounded masculine in business, the wounded feminine in business. You see it. So even with the masculine, especially with my age, 22, I see a lot of young women in business surrounded by a lot of men in business who, same thing, kind of project, keep them suppressed. So I do, I see that as well. So there's that aspect, that you have to move through. And moving through that, advice that I would give to young women is assertiveness. So you have to be very assertive in this industry. And that doesn't mean mean, it doesn't mean aggressive or mean, but it just means being assertive with your boundaries, knowing when to say no, like you said, knowing what resonates with your heart and your higher vision, knowing what doesn't, and having the strength to say no to those things and to keep on course. So I feel like a lot of things I'm going to talk about right now are very similar to what you said. So number one, yes,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
love the boundaries thing that you just brought up, for us women in business, having boundaries because and the self-work as well. If I could go back and replay my 20 years, that's a huge, massive thing that you just brought up for young new entrepreneurs to really take a look at. They have to hold their boundaries. And, especially as women. So here is the thing with us women, right? Is that a lot of the time, we're nurturers and we want to do good for our families, and the people that we love and all of those people in our lives. And so we're naturally nurturers.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times we'll see these red flags. And instead of saying, oh, red flag, let me walk away from that, like we'll try to wrap ourselves in that red flag and make it a nice, cozy, warm blanket. And it never works. It never works, And so if I love that you said that. And I think that the young generation, they really need to do some contemplation on that and take a look at that because I would have been able to travel my journey with a lot more ease and grace if I knew how to look at those red flags and I knew how to say, as much as I would love to travel this journey with this individual, we're not aligned. And therefore, I will break it now rather than continue to try to fit a circle in a square peg
Mm-hmm.
because I either want to see them do well or I want to see good things for them.
Yeah.
So, though having that discretion and saying, I am now not going to make somebody else's situation, I'm not going to carry that and make that my problem per
Mm-hmm.
se. I don't like the term problem, but I can't find the correct word because you're really hindering not only your growth, but you're hindering the other individual as well.
Exactly.
So if I would have learned that 20 years ago, I think that there's a lot of things I would have done differently. A lot of tried partnerships I would have cut off, a lot sooner. A lot of things that I would have voiced a lot quicker. And, that is for young people like yourself that are coming in and I see the community. I see like the vibe and even now with you at Champions bringing in like this new energy and vibe, right? With all this, I see this youth walking around and I'm like, okay, here we go. But it's knowing to stand firm and know your boundaries as well and to react on them and do the work to hold that boundary, speak your truth, and move on with that ease and grace very rapidly to not waste time and energy on things that are not for you.
Yeah. What came to me with what you were saying is, again, as young women, to heal those aspects of ourselves that are wounded, to do that internal work. If we don't have healthy boundaries, do the work to learn what are healthy boundaries, and just face and really look directly at where our pain comes from so we can
Mhm.
heal those things, create healthy boundaries. And when we begin to heal ourselves, that's how we heal others as well. When we begin to hold firm in our boundaries, it kind of shows others, oh, maybe they don't even know what healthy boundaries are, but it shows, oh, that's a healthy boundary. Or it kind of just shows a different perspective on how to move through things.
Mhm.
So for young women, yes, just creating healthy boundaries, learning to look within to heal those things that you need to so that you can walk forward with more strength, more ease, more grace. And then the next thing I would get into is being intentional with your long-term goals. So really finding something that's going to feed your soul and not take away from it. So
Mhm.
asking yourself, is this feeding my soul? Is this going to fulfill me? Is my intention with what I'm doing for my future, for my family, for myself, for, to grow my own self-esteem, my own self-confidence? Is this in alignment with that? Am I, do I want to build something to be of service to others, to help others, to heal my family, so again, just asking yourself, what is my intention behind what I'm doing? And if you don't have an intention behind what you're doing, to dig deep and to sit down with yourself, contemplate and figure out what direction you want to go down and how you're going to get there. So I
Mhm.
think that's the second thing I would, give to women in business is, is it feeding your soul? Is it going to bring you fulfillment, or is it leading to a dead end or a dead road?
Because
And
if you don't do that, it won't be long term.
yeah.
You will continue to try to find your purpose if you don't come from that space. So
Mhm.
I agree, that's really well said. And I also think that, part of that is you at the end of the day, you have to love what you do, right? So just like you mentioned at the beginning, you've been in real estate for a long time because you've had to hear me talking about it probably since birth.
Mhm.
So, when you hear someone talking about it since birth, it sort of like integrates, I think, into your cells probably. But, you've heard a lot of different things that we do, like, as a family. And you've heard, the brokerage side and how, Remax Champions is my heart. And
Mhm.
so my real estate brokerage is my heart. That's what I love it. You've been within our escrow company, Legacy First. You were there, and were in that dynamic. We have the mortgage company. That the properties, right? Real estate investing and tenants, and you've been in like a wide array of what we do as a family in real estate, but you have to find what you love
Mhm.
and what your passion is, and then that's going to be your primary. You can do a lot of other things, but your passion will always be your primary, I want to say vehicle, so to speak, but
Just
more
came to
than
mind
that, I
too.
think
I was thinking of vehicle. It's like it's your vehicle to
it's your
get
vehicle,
your vision
yes,
to the world.
to execute your life's work, right?
Mhm.
Because that's what we want to do. And so you have to love what you do. I mean, if you have to drag yourself out of bed every day and get to work, then you're not living your life's purpose, and you're not living, in alignment with yourself. You have to find what it is that it's going to, I mean, I literally have to make a conscious effort to stop working because I love it so much. I could be like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm still thinking of ideas, and I'm trying to figure out, like, what could we do next? What could I bring in? What can we, so you have to love what you do, or else none of it will fall into place. None of it. And you'll feel stuck in your life. You'll feel almost sad, and you don't know, life is too short to live that way.
And what I will say about that is there's levels to it too. So you find what you're passionate about, and doesn't mean it's going to come easy. Doesn't mean that there aren't going to be hard times. It takes a lot of courage, and that's my third point with or advice to women, young women in this industry. It takes a lot of courage to step into the business arena and to hold yourself, the way you want to hold yourself with, grace and ease. And if you're on the feminine journey, or if you're trying to, heal your feminine, it takes just, yeah, navigating, wanting to, bring into the world the feminine, and then also having those boundaries. So it takes a lot of courage and really just making the first step. So to find, we're talking about what your life work is, and, what you're passionate about. Sometimes you don't know what it is yet. Sometimes you don't know what it's going to be, but we have to make that first step, at least, with saying, okay, I want to find what fulfills me, and putting yourself out there to make mistakes, to stumble along the way, to and giving yourself compassion as well, because it's not easy. It's hard. You have to, especially when you're, growing and learning and wanting to be your best self in this world, wanting to serve others, be better for yourself, for your family. It takes a huge amount of compassion, because you're looking at all the ways, all your shadows, all the ways that maybe you're not operating with integrity. Maybe you're not being in your, operating with love, or you have triggers, or, you make a mistake that maybe is a little bit embarrassing, but it takes a lot of courage, a lot of self-compassion, a lot of trust that as long as you're moving, you have a vision in mind, you have something you want to bring into this world, attached to a higher purpose as well. When it's attached to something that's not fulfilling, like we said, or not rooted in love, it will not manifest, with fulfillment. But, having that higher vision and having the courage, the rest will just follow. The rest will, come into line. But again, takes a lot of courage, and there will be challenges and obstacles.
There's a beautiful, when you're talking about courage, a beautiful Brené Brown. I love Brené Brown. One of her quotes, and it says something like, integrity is choosing courage over comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And, meaning that you're going to do the things that are difficult to do over the things that might be fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, anybody that hasn't read that's a whole different topic though, Brené Brown, she has some amazing books, but, choosing courage over that comfort and being able to do that, because it is tough. I mean, when you get into any arena, and especially the real estate arena, you're out there, and it takes a certain amount of showing up in a way where you're going to have to block out a lot of opinions and things that other people are either doing or saying, and really making it more about yourself and your journey and staying focused on that. Part of that is you're going to have people see you fail at certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people see me fail at certain things, in the industry, either regarding partnerships or other things. And I don't even want to use the term fail. I think using the term not aligned is better. However, it takes courage to do that, to at least say, you know what, I'm going to show myself and I'm going to attempt this. And it might not work, and I might fall flat on my face in front of people, but that's okay too. I know my vision. I know what it is that I want to accomplish, and I don't mind doing that. I don't mind dusting myself off in front of people and smiling and moving down that lane, and it happens. And there's not, a lot of people, they don't want to do that. And because they don't want to do that, they don't show themselves. And then when you don't show yourself, you're not going to be able to live out your dream, because you're so concerned about what everybody else is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, it has to do with your own journey and what you want to provide, what you want to accomplish, the value you want to give, to your family, to others in the community, and to the world. And so you can't worry about those things. And yes, you do have to have a lot of courage in order to do anything that's going to show yourself and make an impact, on your life and the community.
Very true. Very true. I love that. And the last thing with just, women in business is you have to define what is success to you. Mm-hmm. Success looks very different. And it might not even be the word success. Let's just say fulfillment. Fulfillment looks very different for everybody. Someone's success could be, living very simply and modestly, with community and love. Someone else's could be, building a huge empire, a business empire that serves the whole, that provides, tools for growth. So it's just everyone's success and path is different, and you have to go with what you know is true to you. Mm-hmm. So go with what you know is your path, not anybody else's path, not what they're doing over there, what they're doing over there, what, they look like they're successful. What are they, I need to do that. No, it's what's going to bring you fulfillment. What is your path in life? How are you going to serve the whole, or serve, be of service in the world? And then also be of service to yourself by listening to your intuition, listening to what is in your heart's, what your heart wants to bring into this world.
Mm-hmm. Get out of the box.
Exactly. And I will say, just to add on to this, like my mom pioneered the way for me, and she experienced a whole different environment. Um, and we have a long way to go with, work environments. We've made so much progress, but again, there's just still a lot more progress to be made. But at least like the awareness is there that we do need to change it and that a shift does need to happen. And with that, we need leaders who, empower, who have integrity, who have self-awareness, and who are coming from a higher power.
Yes, business, it has to make a shift in a lot of aspects. And I think that it's people that have the courage once again to take a look at that, and start bringing awareness into not only business but other people, life, and trying to fulfill that purpose to make everything better,
Mhm.
and to make everything not only more streamlined but just better, and to fulfill, a purpose in the world with business. I think that's like the main thing, us
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, like we need to give back and teach. For me, it's teaching the youth, because I really want the youth to have a better path and to do business in a different way with more ease and grace than
Mhm.
what it was that I did. Because when you can teach the youth and give them shortcuts so that maybe our future is going to look a little bit differently than it does now, the future systems and culture, it'll look a little differently if we continue to teach our youth. And this is why I'm so proud
Mhm.
of my daughter for showing up, and you're putting yourself out there as a woman in business. And I know that those things can be challenging to do. They can be challenging to step into. And you mentioned earlier, you've been in real estate, and that the way has been paved a little bit. However, there are people that, let's say, you can give opportunity to some people and they don't have the capacity to carry it, or they don't have the capacity to make it grow and to have it flourish. Have you ever heard of that person that wins the lotto, and then all of a sudden, a month later, all of their money is gone and they're poor and they're in the same place that they were prior to winning the lotto? So it takes that certain individual to be able to grow something and to have that capacity to be able to navigate it. And so this is why I mean, you're my daughter, but I am so proud of you, and just how you've shown up and the things that you've done at your young age. I mean, it's hard to do even at my age, let alone at such a young age. So very
Thank you.
proud,
Thank you.
very excited about our future leaders
Very
in business
excited.
as well. I'm seeing some amazing things out there. I love it. These
Mhm.
20-year-olds, they're on it, and I love to see it.
Again, it's from the building blocks that you guys, built for us to allow us to grow at a faster pace or maybe see things at a faster rate. So, but thank you. So we're going to move into the next question. I think we've exhausted that one. Um, so this one's going to be, what has our experience in business been as a mother and daughter duo? So I'll let you go first.
Oh my goodness. You know what? This is a beautiful question, because, I think that those that know me and know our family, we're pretty tight knit, meaning in business, we're pretty tight knit. I work with my brother, and him and I have traveled that journey for a very, very long time. We complement each other, and but having for me, the mother-daughter experience, it's been at a whole different level for me. And let me tell you why. So I've done this for 20 years and 2 decades. I've had my challenges, especially during 2008. I think everybody, at least those around me, they know the challenges that I had during those years, and we fell pretty hard. I had to revamp. I mean, it was, a challenging time. But all that experience for 2 decades now coming into this next decade, I have this sense of I want to do better. I want to be better. I want to do the best that I absolutely can. I want to create so much more. I want to leave such a better legacy. I mean, just the word better, like better and better and better. And because, I want to do and be my best for you as well. And
Mm.
it just brings in this new sense of doing. Like, what else can, I create? How can it's amazing, and it's even hard to put into words. But I do know one thing, that this next decade will be the best ever.
Mm.
And the reason is because, I have my daughter by my side, and it feels good and it feels right and it feels different and so just so wonderful, and so for me, I think the experience has been a beautiful one. On I think on your end, maybe there were certain challenges maybe dealing with me, or I wouldn't say dealing, but I am definitely a stubborn woman. I will admit that
Oh, I know.
wholeheartedly and directly. I'm a very stubborn woman, and what I've had to do is a lot of the time take a step back. And when something is brought to my attention, I've had to sit with it rather than react and say, no, we're going to do it, this way. I've had to sit with it and contemplate on it and say, yeah, there may be a better way. And that
Mm.
is a good thing.
And
That
that
is a
takes
good
courage
thing.
in itself also. Like that in itself, being able to reflect and be like, okay, maybe I need to pivot a little bit. That in itself is like courage right there.
Yes. So, my experience, and, I know that I've also, because let's face it, I have been one of those workaholic moms. And I think a lot of that was brought to light and brought to my attention
Mhm.
more so than I wanted it to be.
Mhm.
Um, it was uncomfortable to realize that. And as you and I have talked, Brooke, breaking my ankle, it sat me down and it redirected my path in many ways, and I think that God either taps us on the shoulder or really brings a major life changing event. And thank God I was tapped on the shoulder,
Mhm.
and I was forced to sit down. And so I had to look at several things within the dynamic of my relationships, and that being part of it, and so I'm sure your experience was probably a little bit different. Mine is one where I'm very grateful and I'm literally living in gratitude and just live.
Mhm.
I cannot ask for anything more. I mean, I look at my life and I'm sitting here and I cannot ask for, anything more. And I would love to hear your biggest challenge
Mhm.
or your experience, rather. Why don't we say your experience?
Well, that was beautiful. And I've heard it before. I've heard it several times, but I never get sick of hearing it. Just your journey, and your transformation, what you've seen, what's been brought to light. So thank you. My experience, again, yeah, it's different but similar. Coming in business, working together, coming into this, it's very big shoes to fill. So, what you've created, the success you've had or the community you've built, Remax Champions, Legacy First Escrow, the mortgage, now financial services you've added in, the real estate, like everything, it's big shoes to fill. So I think, that was one obstacle in itself of wow, like it's a lot. But that took that courage of just trusting and being like, you know what, I'm not going to be my mom. I'm going to be different. I'm going to be, I'm going to be myself and be my authentic self. I have my own vision I want to bring about in my own different way. Um, and with that being said, it's been a journey of taking the wisdom and knowledge that you've gone through, the experiences you've gone through, and really taking it in and understanding it, digesting it, but then also implementing the new, implementing my vision, implementing what I believe I can bring into this world, my purpose, my path. So it's just been like a balancing act, or maybe like a meshing of, the your experiences with, my vision. And it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing because not a lot of individuals have this opportunity. It's a privilege. It's everything. This is the biggest blessing ever, to be able to learn from my mom off of what she's built, just have that platform already. And with that, it carries, again, that responsibility. It's a huge responsibility, but I'm ready to take it and I'm ready to surrender to it. And I trust, I have the tools equipped within me to walk this path. I was going to go with something off of that, but yeah, it's a blessing, and I'm excited to just see what comes from it.
I love that you said that you're taking, the experience, but you're molding it to your own way as an individual, because I think that a lot of the time you hit the nail on the head where, we can develop a path, right? But you have to stay within your own vision and be yourself at the same time. You can take the good from, and that, I think that goes for anybody in life or any circumstance, that, we look at something and we want to take the good. And well, we know Mario's clients here. You want to take, the good things and utilize those to the best of your ability. So always stay true to yourself and your belief system and what it is that you want. And, I've always, that's one thing I've always told my kids from day one, and I think that, you deciding what it is that really sparked your interest is a result of that. I've said, I do not, whatever you guys are going to love doing in your life is what you need to do, because that is the important thing at the end of the day in life. So always on that track, of staying true to yourself.
Yeah. And then working together has also brought a different dynamic to our relationship. So, you have that, your personal relationship and, mother-daughter, things like that. But having that business relationship with a parent, it just brings a whole different dimension, because we get to express our creativity in the same place. Our passion and our purpose is in the same place. It's in the same industry, which is that's just a blessing in itself. When I know Alexa's, my sister, her passion is in, art and the art industry. It's different than maybe business industry, but just being able to kind of share the same creative process within this, it brings us closer. It's brought us closer. We bounce ideas off each other. We brainstorm together. She offers me a new perspective. I offer her a new perspective. It's been very healing in that sense of, it kind of breaks open that door of listening, understanding, taking it in, understanding what the other person is saying, and maybe be like, maybe this is a different way to do it, or a better way to do it, or a more in love way to do it. So it's been
communication. Our communication has drastically improved, I feel, where we can really listen to each other, and we can listen to our ideas, and take a step back and evaluate it, and just come to agreements, or maybe not even if we maybe non-agreements on, well, let's do it this way. But communication is just so important in no matter what it is that you're doing. I mean, especially relationships, right? But in business relationships, it's crucial. Without it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, our communication has definitely improved. Healthy communication, because just building that healthy communication. Before, I wouldn't say it was the best. So we kind of cultivated that as well. And, the point that we've reached right now, it's because we put in that work. It wasn't easy. It wasn't just roses and daisies. It was very hard. It was very challenging. It was very triggering for both of us. But we put in that work and that commitment because we both wanted, again, a better relationship, a more, understanding relationship. And that's how we've been able to get here. So
absolutely. It was hard work too. It was hard work, but it's very well worth it at the end. When you
a lot of self-reflection. You definitely
it's very hard.
It's never pointing the finger out. It's always pointing the finger, in. It's never
challenging. I should say challenging. It's a challenging thing to do.
Very, but yeah, we definitely have to take self-accountability. And I think that's what we've done, both of us. It's just really taking self-accountability for everything that's going on in our hearts, our minds, the emotions. It's never somebody else's fault. It's always in here. So we've definitely both grown in that, continuously growing, continuously evolving, and finding ways we can better relate to each other and love each other better.
Yes, agreed.
Mhm. So let's move on to question 3. We're already at 40 minutes, but
Okay.
this is a question for you. So, question 3, let me find it, is why, from your perspective, why are financial services important to implement?
Okay, so let me deliver this in a way that is gonna be, I think, effective. I wanna deliver this, in a way that's gonna be effective and relate to real estate and our arena. I feel that within our arena, of meaning real estate brokerages and realtors, I've always talked about real estate investment. I feel like no matter what it is that we do, whether it is working, owning a brokerage, selling real estate, having a job, being a doctor, being a lawyer, like I've talked about this all the time, that I feel ultimately at the end of the day, we need to plan on our future and we need to invest. And so, because for me also, I feel that part of success is also freedom. And you need to have freedom in your life to be able to say, I'd rather be doing this or whatever it is for the day. So freedom has been, a big part of the journey that I wanted to fulfill and complete. I think that in our arena, a lot of people, they're hard workers and they're in motion and they're doing things. However, they're not planning. And I feel like had I known, so certain things I did do right. However, had I known additional tools on financial planning with where to put money in the meantime, how to set that up, how that works, how it functions. If I would have known all of those things, my journey would have been quicker traveled because it all goes hand in hand. And so for people now, such as, well, yourself, Brooke, and all of the youth that is starting out, they need to take a look at this whole thing as an all-inclusive whole. It meshes together, it goes hand in hand. And you have to utilize all of these financial planning tools, mesh it into your business, make those wise decisions, with money coming in so that you can do additional things to create your wealth with it. And this is why, I'm so excited that TFA Champion is now a part of the Champions, organization and part of this group because it completes that circle. And if, and you dug in and you learned all of the product and you learned all of those tools. And I feel that doing that, at your age of people coming into the real estate arena can learn those things and do that at a young, early age. A decade later for them will look very different. And with our agents, we're telling them the same thing that our jobs as a realtor or, as somebody that is servicing and helping anybody else in the community or your job, doing financial services is ultimately we're helping people, right? We're trying to help people manage and grow their portfolio and do the best things for their life. And so, for our agents, part of that is offering these things to their clients and making them aware because a lot of it is awareness. People are not aware of things like this, that they even exist. They bringing that awareness in and offering those things to people for their future. I mean, it's a huge blessing. So why financial services? It's necessary. And
Yeah.
it's necessary to be financially savvy, you know, because face it, in our world is a design system where if we could all, you know, live in, I guess, teepees out in, you know, the desert and not have to deal with money, then it would be a very different world. It would be a very different system. Our world is designed to where money does create opportunity, and it opens doors and opens ability, not only for ourselves and our families, but for other people.
Mhm.
And people say, well, you know, money doesn't matter, money doesn't matter, money doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't if you have it. If you have it, it doesn't. But believe me, when you don't have it, it's all that matters. Suddenly, it is all that matters. When you don't have money and you didn't invest wisely, and it's not there, it is all you think about. How am I going to pay for this? Where am I going to live? How am I going to buy this? What am I? So at the end, it does matter. And, you know, we need to implement all of these strategies and learn and, you know, do that work to learn in order to better ourselves and everybody else.
Yeah, in order to bring into our vision, also like with what you said, in order to bring in, you know, our vision into the world, we do need that money, or, you know, we do need those tools to carry our vision. It doesn't just happen by itself. It happens with the tools, with the abundance, the money. Very true. But thank you so much for your insight and, you know, that answer. And thank you. I'm grateful that you took the leap, you know, to purchase the financial services franchise. Like that was a huge leap, and you went there and you took that leap of courage, of faith.
Yes. Well, thank you for taking it to a different level, for making it flourish, for growing it, for doing the work. And the reason that I know that it's flourishing is because, you know, I'm watching and seeing how you're operating, and you're coming from a place of service. You're coming from a place of looking at each individual to provide them value and service. And you love what you're doing. I can see the enjoyment in your eyes, and that matters very, very much, because then you're not only fulfilling what it is that you're aligned with, but you're helping other people. And so you can do something or purchase anything, but if you can't make it flourish, it is not going to work. And that's what you have done, you know. So I'm really proud of you. And I could just say that all day long on this live.
This is not what
But
this
I
is
won't.
about.
I'll spare all of you.
This is not what this is about.
I know.
But thank you, Mama. Any
Of course.
closing thoughts, things you want to say, touch on, anything like that?
No, you know what? I just want to end it and say that I'm very blessed to work together, Brooke. Like, I'm very blessed for this journey. And I want to thank, you know, everybody along the way for this journey that we just talked about to get here, because everybody in our lives adds, you know, so much to our journey. And I feel, and, you know, all of our champions and people that are here, we have just, you know, a beautiful group of people that I'm so blessed to work with. I feel very, very blessed every day of my life that I'm around the people that I am. And so, and plan financially. So, you know, I think if we've said it over and over in this, is just, you know, you have to do that planning as well. Take that initiative.
Well, thank you for joining me. And like you said, we do have a lot of individuals within the company, RE/MAX champions, TFA champions, that are just amazing. They hold that higher vision in their heart, that service, you know, wanting to be of service in the world and wanting to help. So we do have an amazing community. Thank you to all of you who are still tuned in, still watching, who watched all the way to the end. I hope that you took something away from this, whether it be if you're a young woman in business, or, you know, any age really. But if you can operate differently, or if we planted some type of seed, then that's amazing. So again, thank you to everyone who's joined. My information, it just was below. There you go. It's below. So feel free to contact me, reach out to me. My number's there. I would love to sit down if you're interested in becoming a part of the TFA Champions team, seeing what RE/MAX Champions is all about. We can see if we align, if we, you know, that potential to collaborate together is there. So again, just thank you all to all of you who are still joined in. Love is a